years. Sergey, over to you.
Thank you very much for your introduction. I would like to say many thanks to AGCA, organizer of this conference, for inviting me and giving me opportunity to present my views on the market of Ukraine and Black Sea countries. Well, really, preparing this presentation, I listed key challenges which Ukrainian agrarian sector faces, and I'm sure that these challenges reflects the global trends in the global economy and also in the global agrarian sector. Well, Ukraine is a country situated in middle of Europe. About 20% of famous black soil of famous Chernozem is situated there. And well, Ukrainian climate is rather diversified from arid in the extreme south to more wet to in the north of the country. Climate changes for the last 10-15 years were favorable for Ukrainian agriculture in prevail. Well, this could be seen on the sample of two northern regions of Ukraine. It is Rovno and Kyiv regions. The average May temperatures for the previous 13 years increased from year to year, and this was immediately accompanied by growing areas of corn, and sometimes average yield of corn in these two northern regions of Ukraine are higher compared to center of Ukraine and south of Ukraine. Well, sure, climate is unpredictable, and we could see this on these ups and downs in grain production, and how Ukrainian farmers try to fight with all these extremes. Well, we consider the usage of imported new seeds for corn cultivation as an indirect sign that Ukrainian farmers try to use better agrarian technology for receiving more stable corn production in spite of all the variations of climate. Well, anyway, average yields of corn in Ukraine are still lower compared to the leading producers like Argentina and United States. Well, but still they have tendency to increase. Well, Jack Jack very clearly described the price tendencies, and really after a period of comparatively high prices for grain and also for vegetable oils, we see now a very sharp drop in the world prices, in export prices for Ukrainian grain and vegetable oils, and this means that Ukrainian farmers receive less money. Their margins are shrinking, and so this is a rather impressive discouraging factor for Ukrainian agriculture. I'm sure that everybody here remembers that just, 18 months ago, price for corn was at least 300, 350 FOB. Now it is 160, and price for sunflower oil was 1800, and we see very impressive drop in agriculture prices, so drop in revenues for farmers. Well, in spite of this negative factor, our forecasts for the season 2014-15 is rather positive. We suppose that total grain production is in 2014 even slightly higher than last year, and so the export of total export of grain will be also slightly higher by approximately 1.5 million tons. In the export structure, we suppose that corn share will going down slightly from 18 million tons to 17-18 million tons, but the greater export, total export will be explained by bigger export of milling wheat and barley. Well, another factor which encourages great grain export from Ukraine is sharp devaluation of Ukrainian currency. The Ukrainian currency is weaker now for the previous 6 months by 62%. Well, another factor promoting export is comparatively stable and even declining domestic consumption, as livestock inventories increase in Ukraine rather slowly, and population consumption could even decline. Well, if we consider key markets for Ukrainian corn, we could see that last season European countries were the most important market, with shares slightly lower than 50%. We suppose that this year this trend, the role of European markets will be also very strong, but sure some other destinations like Egypt and Far East could also increase its importance. I would like to say that gradually quality of Ukrainian wheat and corn increases. Well, from year to year, Ukraine exports more and more wheat with protein content from 11.5 to 12.5. And corn is also of better quality. This is because of application of new seeds, usage of hybrid seeds, and also better after harvest handling of corn. Well, indirect sign of a better quality of Ukrainian corn could be expansion of Ukrainian export to Japan. I suppose you know that Japanese market is very strictly as for the quality of Ukrainian of any commodity imported to Japan. Well, sure, Ukraine is not the only supplier of wheat and corn to the world market. It is the competition between suppliers intensifies constantly. If we compare the share of different wheat suppliers to one of the key wheat markets of the North Africa to Egypt, we could see that for the previous 4-5 years, new and very ambitious suppliers appeared in this market. It could be referred to Romania and also to Ukraine. Just 5 years, that market was dominated by other countries. Well, but opening new markets, it is for sure some Ukraine could face some problems. We suppose that Ukraine could lose Russian and other CIS food markets, and Ukrainian export of grains to this destination was actually negligible. Well, but Ukrainian export of meat products, of milk products to CIS market was rather impressive, and to lose this market could be rather painful for Ukrainian food industry. Well, as for the logistics, we see that after record high export in the previous season, well, we face most likely a new record in grain export from Ukraine. For the first 3 months of the current season, grain export was very high, at very high rates, and the bulk of this export is of wheat and barley deliveries. Well, last season it was absolute record of monthly export, slightly lower than 5 million tons per month. And I suppose that this year even this record could be repeated. Well, anyway, the problem of logistic is how much does it cost for Ukrainian farmers. We could see that from year to year, the costs of transportation of grain from field to the export outlets in the Black Sea are growing. And please pay attention that this table was made about half year ago when prices for corn were at a level of $240 FOB. Now this price is roughly at 160, but all these components of delivery corn from field to the export to the exporting terminals, actually do not change. Well, the only point is that due to rather dry weather, the Ukrainian farmers, there is no need for Ukrainian farmers to dry corn after harvesting. This is general information about Ukrainian ports. Total capacity of grain export terminals are estimated at 45-50 million tons. The most effective ports are situated in the region of Big Odessa and also in Nikolaev. We prepared a special study and presentation trying to convince Ukrainian business and investors and also Ukrainian government to invest in development of grain transportation by barges by the Dnepr River. The cost for transportation is at least 300–400% less compared to transportation of grain by railway and also by trucks. And but it is really great money from the state budget requested to invest to restore all the infrastructure of this river. Well, though if to use this possibility, the effectiveness of Ukrainian grain export logistics will be much higher. Well, so far it seems to me, while everybody in Ukraine plays with the new methods of harvesting, well, it is really problems with Crimea and also with two eastern regions. Well, as for Crimea, the share of Crimean agriculture in total grain and oilseed crops, and also in the domestic silo capacities, is not very impressive. But share in the total port capacities is roughly 10%. So the importance of how to grow the inland logistics for Ukrainian grain is growing by importance. Well, the problems in the east of Ukraine could be reflected by, could be shown by a very simple fact. Farmers in the east receive at least by 15–20% lower prices compared to the nearby regions due to high transportation and high war risks. Well, all these factors from global factors down to the pure local pure Ukrainian factors result in lower attractiveness of Ukrainian agriculture for potential investors. This is the indication of total capitalization of Ukrainian large-scale farms, so-called agri-holdings. Unfortunately, for the previous 18 months, we see the decline of their total capitalization at least by, well, 35%. Another discouraging factors are sharp increases in prices for inputs. So devaluation of Ukrainian currency is not only promoting export, but the devaluation has its another side. It resulted in immediate growth for in prices for fuel and fertilizers. Well, this is planting progress of winter crops. I am sorry, this slide was added to my presentation a bit later after I mailed it to AGCA headquarters. I'm sorry for that. Well, still we see that in general winter crop progress in 2014 for the harvest of 2015 is not bad, though it lags behind the most successful years. Well, so another factor is soil moisture content. In some places of Ukraine, farmers have not seen rains for recent 3 months. This sharp increase in moisture content in the most important regions of Ukrainian grain production took place after the late September rains. But now, again, very warm temperature. I left Kyiv yesterday, and it was from 16 to 18 degrees above zero, and very sunny weather, and such weather was actually all across Ukraine. So it is really very important for formation of the harvest of 2015 to receive additional rains. Well, so we suppose that for the next year the crop structure will remain actually the same, with a large share of corn, but still due to rather low margins of corn and also of sunflower, we suppose that area for these two crops, corn and sunflower, will go down slightly in favor of barley, as barley prices and barley margins are very high this year. In general, we pocket out two possible scenarios for the grain production in Ukraine for the next 2-4 years. The optimistic scenario is that grain production will be stable, with slight variations for sure. And the pessimistic scenario is that grain production will go down due to after effects of all these factors from global level to the local level. Well, anyway, we are rather optimistic. As for Ukrainian agriculture, this is just some success story of Ukrainian companies. This is companies that managed to develop their own well-known brands, not only known in Ukraine but also in Europe and worldwide. It is avant-garde co-producer of poultry MHP kernel, the biggest producer of sunflower oil, and also big exporter of grain. And Astarta Kyiv, a company which is one of the biggest producer of sugar in Ukraine. Well, another serious competitive advantages of Ukrainian agriculture is the possibility to achieve economy by size of production, as in Ukraine about 20% of Ukrainian grain is produced by large-scale farms, by agri-holdings. So actually, this is all my presentation, and I will be happy to answer to your questions. Yeah. Thank you.
It's really great of you to come over from Ukraine yesterday and be so up to date with the information and to speak English for us as well. It's a very big thank you. Tom Bradshaw, I've got a hand in the middle there, please. Any other questions as well? I've got hands while we're...
Tom Bradshaw, Essex Farmer. With the devaluation of the currency, Have the Ukrainian farmers got access to the funds they need for spring fertiliser and agrochemicals?
I'm not expert in English speaking, I'm sorry. Please repeat your question.
So with the Ukrainian devaluation of the currency, will farmers have access to enough money to buy fertiliser and chemicals in the spring?
Yes, yes. The devaluation resulted in higher domestic prices of fertilizers and also of crop protection. I talked with one of the leading companies, suppliers of crop protection for to Ukrainian market, and he told me that according to his estimates, the crop protection market will decrease at least by 10-15% this year. Well, as for fertilizers, it is really a complicated situation, as fertilizers are produced mainly from natural gas, and the stocks of natural gas are in a deficit in Ukraine. So the production of natural fertilizers decreasing with corresponding growth of prices.
Any questions for Sergey? Right at the front here, please. Microphone.
Sergey, I know you've had problems with the land ownership issue in Ukraine. Has any more progress happened on the Westerners buying land in Ukraine, or is it still the same as it was before, please?
Please again repeat your question.
The ownership of land in Ukraine is very complicated. Has there been any improvement in that?
Now in Ukraine, agricultural land is shared between about 7 million physical entities, between about 7 million persons who live in countryside. Well, so Ukrainian, actually all these 7 million plots of land are leased to agricultural companies, and owners of this land plot receive the payment sometimes in money, sometimes in kind payment. Well, so far the Ukraine joined to European legislation through the agreement on association, and it was stated that European rules and European legislation as for land operations would be also applied to Ukrainian land market. Well, but it is anyway, it requires time, and I suppose that in the nearest maybe 1-2 years, Ukrainian parliament will be focused on voting for lots of laws, including the law of land sale and purchasing. Exact time, well, it is not possible to predict, unfortunately.
Thank you, Sergey. You showed the decline in capitalization, the money tied up in farms. You talked about some of the problems that farmers face, the challenges of producing. I always think in this country, confidence, the optimism amongst farmers is really important. So when they're making decisions for the future, how important is agriculture to the whole Ukrainian economy? Is it something that is absolutely vital to the success of the country?
By results of 2013, share of agriculture in the GDP of Ukraine was slightly more than 9%. Well, so the other big contributors in Ukrainian GDP is metallurgy, chemical industry, well, service sector, and financial sector is very small. Well, the situation, the development trends for metallurgy and for chemical industry is not very positive in 2014. Again, this is explained both by the development of global markets and also by the domestic factors. Well, so I suppose that role of agriculture will increase for sure for Ukrainian GDP. Well, but not so impressively as it could be expected, basing on the reports of mass media.
Thank you. One last question, if I could, at the back.
Thank you, Chairman. David Richardson, Norfolk. Could you tell us whether or not the conflict with Russia has had a very big effect on your farming and on your production?
Conflict with no farming, no production?
Well, has the conflict with Russia affected farming very significantly?
For Ukrainian grain, for Ukrainian agricultural raw materials, well, target markets were out of CIS countries, out of Russia. For Ukrainian grain, target markets were North Africa, Middle East, Far East, Southeast Asia. Well, so I do not think that the situation in Ukraine will heavily affected the grain production and export. Well, as for food industry, really Ukrainian annual food industry products export to Russia was roughly $2 billion. Well, so now this number decreases impressively and rather quickly. Well, so Ukrainian food industry could be really affected by the problems with its northern neighbor.
Thank you very much indeed. And as I just repeat, all the speakers will be around after lunch. Sergey, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much.